So when you're ready to load, there needs to be no solvent at the top, but you can't let the silica run dry. So that's a key, it's a fine line, So I'm going to open the tap, and I'm going to be watching the silica, well, the solvent level here, and I've got to stop the drips when the solvent line is right on the top of the silica. This flow rate is pretty slow, so it's easy to stop it at the right time. If your flow rate is fast, you might not want to open the tap all the way. Just open it 3/4 so that you get a drip, drip, drip. And the meniscus is right about where I want it to be, so I'm going to stop right now. Alright, so the top of the silica is barely wet. There's no solvent layer on top of the silica. Now it's time to load the sample. This is the sample I'm going to load. I cannot load a large volume, so I can load about 1/4 of a milliliter or 1/2 milliliter maybe maximum. So this is about 300 microliters, 1/3 of a mill. I've got to put this on top of the silica in a very gentle way. So I'm going little drip, little drip. So I can see a layer of solvent building up on the top, and I can see that I'm not really disturbing the silica. If you make a snowstorm in the column, then you've disturbed the silica. That's not a good idea. So that's my sample. It's in the column. I need to let that now go into the silica. So same idea. Open the tap. I'm going to stop the drips when the solvent here is in the silica. Should just take a few seconds, a few drips to get my 1/3 of a milliliter into the column.
No silica.
And right about there. Okay.
This is so hard.
I'm going to now follow with solvent. So, in this case, the solvent is hexane. This is just hexane. I'll take about 1 milliliter of solvent. Gently, gently. My material's on the top of this column. If I disturb that silica, my material's going to be all over the place. So I'm very gently adding my solvent to the top of the column. All right. And then I let this run in. Should be at this point, my material that was at the very top of the column is now moving in. And once it moves into the silica, then I don't need to be as careful about disturbing the top layer, because the material isn't there anymore. Alright, gotta stop it when all this solvent is in. Okay. Now I follow with a larger volume of solvent. I can fill it up to here and just keep it filled. Keep adding solvent, keep adding solvent, keep adding solvent, so that I've always got this much solvent in the column. When I'm doing that, I'm actually eluting material. I'm moving material along, so I have to start collecting fractions. I'm going to recommend you collect 3 milliliter fractions. So the small test tubes are appropriate for 3 milliliter fractions. If you don't know how much 3 milliliters is, just mark it today. But 3 milliliters of just water would be fine. Mark a line with a Sharpie. Each tube is about the same, so just say I've got to fill it this full, each fraction. For storage of your column, you got to have solvent on top. So if you store it like this, a little bit of solvent evaporates, the top of the column is dry. Doesn't work. To seal the top of the column, you probably need to use Duraseal with a rubber band. I will show that next. Alright, so Duraseal is similar to parafilm, but is resistant to all organic solvents. Parafilm dissolves in hexane, for example. So I wouldn't want to use parafilm, but Duraseal, I'm going to just seal the top. It stretches, not quite as far as parafilm does, but it makes a nice seal.
Are you saying how much reseed you have
Like so.
left? Or
So that should be good. Prevent evaporation overnight, and you can store that until you're ready to use the column.